All right, movie watch list for the week of 10 November 2022. I just went to the library and got these. One was on the shelf and one I put on hold. So the first one is one I have seen. It's Tomb Raider. This is the 2008 one with Alicia Vikander. She and I are both Norwegian. So it's cool. There aren't very many Norwegian born and Norwegian by ancestry actresses. It's a very small ethnic group on planet Earth. And that is accurately encapsulated in a very, very small number of actors and actresses in movies. So this is one where she's Norwegian. And then the second one I have not seen. So I brought this one up with my mom and my dad. And my mom was like, we'd seen it, but I didn't see it. She saw it. So it's 8 Mile. My sister loves this movie. It was in like Lose Yourself by Eminem is like her life. Like if her life had a theme song, like she listens to Lose Yourself on repeat and stuff. And so I have not seen it. It sounds like, so mom said she'd seen it with us, but that was not me. I did not see it. Partially I was too young when this came out, and partially there would be movies that my sister wanted to watch and I was just like, no, and this was one of those movies. And my dad also said he had not seen it. So my dad and I have not seen it. My mom and my sister have seen it. Yeah. And yeah, it was one where I saw the trailer on TV or something like that, and the song Lose Yourself had a music video that was on the MTV Top 20 or VH1 Top 20, or it was on the radio or something. So I found the song before Lose Yourself before I found the movie, and I found it on my own, independent of my sister. But my sister is like first child, firstborn syndrome of, I found it on my own, but she wants to say that I found it from her. And that's kind of not all firstborns do that, but it is a first child syndrome. I think they try and frame the life of any children that came after them as like everything they do copies them. Which is also called spreading misinformation. Does modern misinformation stem from firstborns? Possibly. Is it possible to correct? Yes, I think the best example of when I'm still correcting, but is possible to correct, is I went to cooking school, Italian food, before I got my license, so before I was 16 years old, and it was like 2007 plus or minus a year. And my sister went to cooking school after she graduated from college, and she graduated from college with her bachelor's degree, bachelor's of arts degree in anthropology in 2012. She specialized in fairy tales. And so, yeah. And nothing wrong with fairy tales, just her mind kind of goes towards the fantasy naturally. So kind of emphasize that. She went to cooking school after she graduated from college, and that was like June 2012. So over 4 years after I went to cooking school, she went to cooking school, but she likes to say that she went to cooking school first. So I found that the best way to prevent that kind of misinformation spreading is just to be like, well, let's talk about where we were in school and put the year with it. And that tends to, I think she gets really kind of, I'm like 3 years younger than her. So my doing it over 4 years earlier is also, I did it 7 years younger. And so that really, well, she gets really insecure about stuff like that. So she'd rather frame it as she did it first and lie than tell the truth kind of thing. Projecting that forwards, what might that be like? So this is a perfect example of that is, I found it on my own, but she likes to say I found it because of her, which is not true. An example of another kind of lie that she might propagate that way is I moved in here with my parents in October 2019. It's now November 2022, so that's over 3 years ago. But if I were to move out today, if I am to move out today with my soulmates, she would move, the firstborn syndrome is predisposed to try and blur the lines. So like she would pull up with a U-Haul as I'm moving out to move in kind of thing. And then would say that she moved in here before I ever moved in, even though I moved in here over 3 years ago. All right, so that's just kind of how firstborns work. They like to say anything that the children after them did. They did. So in the case, she likes to say that anything I did was because of her, even if she hasn't done anything, right? And hasn't even thought of anything. And so it's just, that's a perfect example. Is if we were to move in and out at the same time, she would, even though I've already been here for over 3 years, she would say she moved in first. That's just how she works. Not all first children are that way. There are good first children. But that's the misinformation spreading from my sister. I've had to course correct my entire life, including at school, where when I'm in class and she already went through, first thing is like, oh, you're Lindsay's little sister. And I'm like, great, now how much damage control am I going to have to do? So if some people ask how I'm so good at damage control, it's like, well, I had a sister who, firstborn child in this family, so there's only 2 of us. She's older than me, I'm younger. Yeah, she's naturally, it's called pathological liar. She likes to lie and say that I copy her for everything, when in reality, she actually, if we were to point out the chronology, she copies me. However, not on everything. Like for the cooking school, I went to Italian cooking school. She went to French cooking school. I don't even like French food. So that's an example of, we did something the same. We both went to cooking school. However, I hate French food. So she didn't copy me on that. But there are cases where she will copy me and then say, she copied me, even though I did it 8 years before she even thought of it. Right? So this is one of those things where it's this is very much hers, and am I watching it because of her? No, but she would lie and say that I am. That's just who she is. Maybe she'll grow up. But people with the firstborn syndrome of always framing younger children in the family as copycats it stems from a certain form of mental illness. So it's a syndrome for a reason. And she is that type. So yeah. So watching it, I'm gonna guess that I'm not gonna like it. The song "Lose Yourself" by Eminem. It's kind of long. It's not my favorite song. It's not top of the barrel for me, but it's a song I have on my in my music and I listen to, but that doesn't mean I listen to it all the way through. I'm this is a 5-minute song. I was after about 2.5 minutes, I go skip or just scroll to the end of the song so it looks like it played all the way, but really I was just next by scrolling. So finger workout, scrolling. I have not ever done Tinder. So instead I do scroll to end a song on music. There we go. But that's my movie watch list for this week, 10 November 2022.